It's like a giant meat grinder. They're coming at speed over the sound wall. In front of the bravest warriors who are sure after roaring, it's a horrible sound that wants to rip their eardrums apart. After Good's 10 tons explosive with precision to the centimeter, they've ripped through every infantry formation, destroy all means of combat, whether it's advanced air defense systems, efforts to increase the main battle, or modern frontline vehicles. That's what a rebel would say. In the face of these super powerful erasers, like a rusty Stream Su Persian model erect super city, it's considered the world's most powerful erection. Up to the present time, does that absolute power exist? Or it's just the media's praise? Let's get the knowledge of deciphering right in the video. Today developed from 1908 BA by the Shu Rui Design Bureau Extreme Supersonic XU Persian. It's actually one of the variants of the fighter. Su-27 Flanker B, famous with variations in precision strike capability. Targets on the ground, so even though it's classified as an attack aircraft, with the ability to strike extremely accurately against the ground. But in terms of exterior design, aerodynamics of the Persian Su, it's almost no different than the Su-2s. 7 classic except nose section. It's a little bit flatter than its other brothers, make the Shu. The Persians also have extremely flexible air combat maneuvers, not so much inferior to the Su-27 variants, the cause of the sudden change in the design thinking of sub-Persian compared to the older generation fighters, mainly because at the beginning of the 80s in the Soviet defense establishment, there started to be a lot of heated arguments in the direction of fighter and fighter development. While some argue that the Soviet Union should develop a new generation of fighters, more versatile and capable of powerful air combat, just met the attack requirement to support the 6-man units in the context of the ground fighter squadrons of the Soviet Union at that time, are being seriously challenged. Because of the large number of fighter models, the F-15 and F-16 are being used by the US. Most of the others are still loyal to the theory. Divided the trend of fighter development into 2 branches, branch specialized in air superiority such as MiG-29 and Su-27, and the offensives like Su-34 Su-17 small, 2BA small BM-27. Maybe you don't know. When it comes to modern fighter jets, they are usually divided into 3 main groups. The first fighter, that's the kind of airplane. It is used to intercept enemy air forces in the air, the front of his sky. Characteristics are high-speed, short operating range weapons specialized in the team. The second is assault, specialized in accurately attacking ground targets. Has high speed, but it's mainly used for quick maneuvers, to get to the distance enough to perform offensive operations with bombs. The rocket is mounted on Leo's skin. The third bomber aircraft with extremely heavy weight arbitration with high ceiling, slow flying speed. It's used to attack very large targets, or a large-scale strategic attack, however the ability of this aircraft to defend itself against attacks. The road is not insignificant, and their presence on the battlefield, often dragging along the escort search squadrons, especially before competitors who have large numbers. Air defense systems or search and intercept with bombers like 222 MBA-2A60 due to the cumbersome level of preparation from fuel to weapons. To ensure flight safety, to set up defensive plans, these specialized bombers like that, it is usually only used for the purpose deterrent or serve for displays of power destruction of infrastructure. On conventional fronts, that's going at supersonic speeds. Flexible maneuverability usually used in direct support of the ground forces, consume the enemy's energy or destroy the fortified sites. But it's also because there's a lot of similarity in characteristics. Technical strategy, like flying speed, the ability to perform flexible operations enough to dodge attacks from air-to-air fire, the distance between the fighter and the fighter increasingly fading out on next-generation multi-role planes. New. According to that, the new generation of fighters is growing, tend to be more versatile. It's like the American F-15E Eagle. Russia's BA-5S is capable of air combat. it is capable of striking ground targets. With extremely high precision despite the developmental perspectives, the fighter is based on the cleavage between the two lines. Ground attack and fighter, there is a win, south. But very soon the Soviets also realized that it's about dividing planes like that. We'll force them to build planes in huge numbers. At least that's enough for the Soviets. It's possible to deploy aircraft formations with all kinds of across its vast territory. Not only that, development trends. And this kind of airplane pulls all kinds of things. From not taking advantage of the basic design of a type of airplane, has been shaped making it difficult to ensure technical logistics as well as training. So from the very beginning, after taking on the development task, hardline new size SU design studio. Previously, it has accumulated. He has a lot of experience in aircraft design, ground combat from Su-7 to Su-17-22, and Su-34 decided to develop a new attack aircraft. It was originally called Su-27IB, based on the chassis of the Su-27 heavy fighter. In spite of that, the Tu-7 were not widely used in the Soviet Army. By the decision of the engineers, the new model will be designed with 2 seats, same as on Su trainer version Tu-7UB, it's just that the cockpit is significantly larger. To be better suited to ground attack missions in addition to ensuring the ability to focus. The pilot's quick response during missions forced to dive low altitude to accurately attack low-altitude targets, especially the kind of defense system. The fortifications are laid out against the complex terrain. The engineers, the Soviet Union, also designed the cockpit in the direction of pressurization. It completely saves the pilot from having to wear an oxygen mask. During the entire flight, the cockpit of Tsubasa is even so wide that it can help pilots stand up. They even drink tea on long flights. Outside the room, the steering is also reinforced with a durable titanium armor, weighs 1.48 tons for safety protection for crew before machine guns, and small splinters of anti-aircraft guns. Unfortunately, after the connection, the bucket collapsed in 1991. Line development program. The new ban has been canceled several times, and it's got to be 19 and 19. The name Suba was officially recognized by Russia. It was not until the year 2 to 5. The new Suba line is really interested in invest in development seriously. According to that, a boat. The standard Persian version will be up to 23.34 meters long. The wingspan is 14.7 meters. Height 6.09 meters, same maximum takeoff weight, about 44.3 tons, up to 14 tons more than Sublama's, the most powerful multi-purpose fighter. It is in the Russian army up to now. But basically, the appearance of 2 children. The wind is almost no different, except that the Persian Su's nose was flatter. Is the origin for a rather cute nickname, the platypus of the world's most dangerous weapon? Really, even though it's a very heavy attack aircraft. But sub-Asians don't just have the range to go up. 4,500 kilometers is too far for a normal erection. It can also reach a maximum speed of 8 knots. It's not inferior to fighter jets. Popularity of Western countries like F-15E Eagle Ruffle, it's a huge advantage for fighter jets. In the missions, it requires a precise attack on each target, especially the moving targets. Small size is fighting directly on the battlefield, like all kinds of ships. Armored tank infantry groups for short periods of time with bombs like the RBK-500 or SP-BAD, then leave quickly or move to attack other locations. It doesn't stop there. High speed and range. The distance also helps. Persia causes considerable difficulty for enemy air defense systems. When the systems themselves, that air defense can become targets. Of the Su-Persian specific, the Persian Su before entering the offensive phase, we're going to have to search for the target with radar. Passive phase array, Leninist V No 04. Even if there is a real loss. In terms of accuracy when compared to Western competitors, and only the targets are the fighters. Heavy duty from 90 kilometers, but there is scope. Superior coverage up to 250 kilometers for large-sized ground targets, which is the main target of this fighter. After correctly identifying the target, 2 crew members in the cockpit will quickly set up a ground map at a distance of 150 kilometers. At the same time, we're choosing the distance, safe terrain from the attack of the room equipment. No, stick to it. It's a land-based missile strike. This is supposed to be a tactic. It's extremely dangerous of these commandos, where they can lower their altitude to a low level, enough to make it difficult to identify scanning of air defense radar systems and then fire on the target from a distance of up to 200 kilometers. When using a hill-land missile like the 9-year-old with a range of 200 kilometers, Mk9 anti-ship missile with a range of 285 kilometers, or a missile, it's one of the most powerful missiles in the inventory. China's tactical missiles, Russia and Iran, have a range of up to 2,500 kilometers, can mount tactical nuclear warheads with a braking capacity of 250 kilos. That's 10 times more than the atomic bomb. The US threw down Japan's Nagasaki. Even when you get in, one of the most dangerous situations for an attack plane is to be spotted and approached by enemy fighters. The Su-Persian with aerodynamic platform from Tu-7 series fighter, it could be a very helpless fighter by taking advantage of mobility to suddenly attack enemy fighters with missiles. Short-range air-to-air R-7BA Vimto is usually designed to fit on the 2 side hangars at the top of the wing, or an extremely short-range attack with a 30 caliber GSH-31 cannon. It's the same as the 30 with 180 bullets. Even the aerial capabilities of Subas, it can be raised to a high enough level, rape for any fighter. If the remaining 10 weapons racks are installed, several R-7M long-range air-to-air missiles, A has a range of 175 kilometers guided by radar, but to be able to carry out aerial combat, unwilling to be pressed by the enemy, or enough to play a role as a means of road raids in the Love-Con-Right situation. It totally means something. Sub-Paris can fight Casino. It's like a real fighter in all conditions, especially before the competitors, are the F-15 Eagle multi-role fighter squadrons with extremely accurate radar electronics, for superior ability to determine actions and fight compared to Su-Persian, and even with some of the other Tu-7 injectable variants. And that's obviously what makes Subas seem much more passive, especially in situations where the enemy is attacking, or fighting alternately in packs. Meanwhile, the F-15E, though not comparable to Subas, if you have to carry a large load of weapons, go straight to the enemy's lines of attack. But in return, this multi-role fighter is integrated tactical electronic warfare, including warning reception, radar jammer, and light float unit, combined with LAN-TIA navigation system. It also helps the American multi-role fighter has its own advantages over Su-Persians in ground attack missions, especially missions that require night flying. Coordinate with other units, the limitations of Su-Persian in electronic warfare capabilities. However, through the parameters of the Persian sub can also be seen superior power of the erect line. This in the missions. Common ground attack from precision destruction into command facilities, communication station motor vehicles to neutralize the armored forces, and infantry groups right on the battlefield. Reality is still too superior to any fighting line. What in the world today? It's also because of the ability to hit the ground very accurately. The Suba Private was Russian. Choice of nose main attack in the war against rebel forces in the Middle East. From 2 years, not 15 special before the militant groups of the state, self-proclaimed Muslims, is hiding behind residential areas. The ones the Persians had no difficulty in bombing raids, to destroy rebel groups with their infrastructure systems, disable almost completely, using civilians as a shield, which is very popular with these terrorists. But even if it's a low-level attack, to the terrorists only equipped with various types of rifles, personal machine gun, light anti-aircraft gun, still completely disproportionate compared to the superior aerial capabilities of the animals. Russian duckbill and its successes in the Middle East. It's only a partial reflection of the type of combat. This advanced muscle Just like that, not until Russia launches military operation in Ukraine. The new Persian Su had to face more worthy rivals, the Shu Persia, after being sent to the battlefield by the Russian army from the first days. It caused a lot of damage to Ukraine. After the bombardment squadrons destroyed the target soldiers' enemy artillery and armored vehicles from distance to 30 kilometers, mainly by 9 Ca-H-2 missiles, despite the fact that Ukraine's military strength is inferior to Russia's, but still outperformed the Iraqi military forces, Middle East troops. It's an army force. The country is formally organized, modern equipment that's above the world average. But the Su Persia is still not very difficult to fly around. Bombardment of Ukraine's best protected targets, and just to 12/6 near 4 months after Russian military operation in Ukraine, just recorded officially recognized the feat of destroying the Su 1st Persian Army of this country at Kharkov to 18 July 2022, Su. Another Persian was mistakenly shot by the enemy near Anchev city in Lugansk province, which has seen heavy fighting between Russia and Ukraine until 5 September. According to information from the Ukrainian side, Su Iran was also involved in a total of 4 combat aircraft. The driver was shot down by Ukrainian troops. To specifically have to perform dive attacks with large frequency at short distances in front of competitors who have room capacity, not mid-range to low range, not as weak as the Ukrainian army. It's clear that only a few Persian Sutras were sold. It's not enough to confirm. The power of this weapon is the paper tiger, after what they did in Ukraine, even with the vast upgrade potential. The upgrade potential of the Persian Su is said to not only stop at the Persian Su version, the latest M even in the context of Russian defense cooperation, and China one of the leading countries, the world of electronic technology. There are more and more